Coach Steve, I have 2 players on my 12U team that when the ball's coming to them and it's getting ready to hit the ground, I see this as they try to pick the ball. Instead of picking it, they actually try to swat at it. What do you do on a short hop or a ball that's coming to you that you know that's gonna hit the ground? What can you do to prevent them from just kind of like swatting and trying to get out of the way at the same exact time?
Yeah, I always look back at a Derek Jeter video. He was playing, I don't know if it was at the Metrodome, but he was playing on turf and he got like a really weird top spinner. And just before he was getting ready to field it, his glove was here and he actually jumped with it. So he didn't have to do this. And his body literally went in the air, basically no matter what, saying my fingers are gonna stay down. Because I think too often you get that ball that's gonna bounce, right? And it's got that funky top spin. I always teach, start from the ground because our reactions are much quicker coming up than they are here, and then all of a sudden it hits the lip and stays down. So really you have 2 options, right? If the ball's gonna bounce there, I can either push through it, right, and create the short hop out of it so it's that way. Or if that ball is gonna bounce there, I can give with it and create a long hop, but my fingers are never going this way. Because every time you go like this, you're gonna get stuck pushing down at it. But you can be here and make the adjustment coming up, or be on the side of it, similar to like a throwdown on a tagging the runner out at second. I can be here and work back up and make the tag. So I would say whatever you gotta do to try to keep the fingers down, and then either create a short hop out of the in-between hop, or create a long hop out of it, but keep those fingers from going up. Coach Duke, what do you do for those guys that never seem to be ready? I don't know if it's not being ready on time or just not having quick enough reactions, but it's almost like the ball's hit to them, they wait, and then their first step is always late. Any drills that you do with your infielders?
That's so good because I feel like at all levels, whether you're talking about 8-year-olds or even on our 17-year-old team, it's like every pitch, they're not all ready on every pitch. So creating something that's a timing that when the ball's hitting the zone for the hitter to hit the ball, we want to make sure we're ready. Whether we're just landing and hopping or we're taking a little bit more of a bigger hop, they need to create movement so that when the ball hits, they can take off to wherever the ball's going and be ready to go. So one of the things that I like to do with the team is there's a couple things. The easiest thing is tossing the ball up and catching it so they can see the ball and they want their feet to land on the ground right now. As soon as it hits my glove, that's when they're landing and getting ready to make their move. So this one right here is a great drill to help your players be on time and know the importance of being on time.
All right, Coach Duke, I see a lot of young infielders. I don't know if they're afraid or they just don't know the right positioning to get to, but it seems like every time they field the ball, you hear coaches say, get your butt down, and they do one of these. And they're sitting back, their gloves hanging down, or any drills or any positioning you want to put them in to fix that?
I think one of the things that we like to talk about is taking your elbows and putting it on your knees. When you take your elbows and you put them on your knees, it puts you automatically down into this position. You're not taking your hands and doing this, you're doing this, which is kind of taking my butt and putting it out, not down, but out. And that way when my hands dart out in front of me, I'm creating a good triangle with my hands. So start all your players from this position to start with, and when they're doing their fielding position, they're actually presenting to the ball in this fashion, putting them into a good solid position. Another thing that we like to do is taking the players and putting them on a tire. If you put them on a tire and you get into this position, you'll feel your quads starting to burn a little bit, opposed to just bending this way. You're actually getting them into a good position and getting their hands out. So that's a really good fielding position that'll help players get their head down to the level of the ball, opposed to staying way back here, and now they're reacting to the ball, opposed to being able to get nice and low to be able to see the baseball. Coach Steve, this happened to our team the other day at 12U and also 16U. Talking to the third baseman about what balls they should be going after, because oftentimes, even at first base sometimes, when the ball's hit, the first baseman retreats and just runs to the base and doesn't go for the ball. At third base, it's almost like, oh, everything's the shortstop's to my left. What should they be thinking and what should they be doing when the ball's hit? What balls should they be catching?
That's a good question. I think the answer is different for both sides. I would say third base, whatever you can field. We've got a much easier angle working across the field than the shortstop working and charging and throwing something on the run. So third baseman, I teach them whatever you can get, go get. right? That means diving to my left, that means choppers if I have to cut the shortstop off and make the play. First base is a little bit different because I think it depends on the athleticism of the pitcher. If you have a pitcher that can get over and cover first, you know, what positioning are you starting in, and where's your second baseman starting, right? Because if my second baseman is cheating up the middle, well, I got to cover a lot more ground to my right as a first baseman. If my second baseman's cheating, you know, middle or even more towards his glove side, that means I'm going to work with him, and I'm going to have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to cover, especially how athletic my pitcher is. Can he get there? Can I work to my backhand side and get it to my pitcher covering first? So I would rather guys be aggressive. The last thing I want is my first baseman like this looking, and then the second baseman doesn't know who's going to field it, and now nobody fields it. So I would err on the side of being more aggressive. Go get it, right? If you can field it, go field it, but also just know who you're working with. Know your pitcher, know the speed of the runner. I think those are all the things that have to be discussed amongst the infielders before the pitch is even thrown. And as they get older, you know, Duke's playing second and I'm playing first, well, I'm letting them know, hey man, I'm 2 towards the line and he's working 2 towards me, or he's letting me know he's 2 up the middle and I'm working towards him. So I think all that stuff kind of goes into the answer, but I would say third base, definitely be more aggressive. Field everything, cut every ball off that you can. It's gonna be much easier for you to make that play than that shortstop on the run throwing across the infield.